Welcome back. Now that you have your calendar set up with the calendar portion, the table just on the bottom, and this big open area up top, we're ready to start adding in the requirements. Now, if we actually go to our class and then look at the calendars days 2 through 6, adding all requirements, where you found this video, this is where it's going to show you all the different pieces. Now, I want to stress a couple things here. For the next couple of classes, this is going to be a little monotonous. It's going to feel like the same thing every day. This is your main work time, but the more work you put in, the better it's going to be. So these are your different requirements every month. Starting out, you need birthdays. Now, I don't know if your family is like my family, but I'm not going to have one birthday in every month. So instead, as long as by the end of the year, January all the way through December, you include at least 10 total. Doesn't matter if you have 8 of them in December and 2 of them in a different month, or maybe you have 1 in each month except for a couple. That is absolutely fine. As long as I can count 10 total, we'll be good. But for every month, you're going to add birthdays if you can, holidays, and every month has a holiday except for August. And if you're creative, you can even find one for August. You're going to add clip art or some type of secondary image. Not talking about the pictures you're going to add at the top, but a secondary image. You're going to add color accents or color blocks, then different types of fonts, changing that up every month, and then finally finishing with a quote, at least one quote. Now this can be anything you want it to be, so it can be an actual famous quote. It could be lyrics to your favorite song, stanzas in a poem, or even just something that you say, like cliched sayings like April showers bring May flowers. You can put whatever you'd like. We just want to see that you can put a text box in and move it around. So if we're talking birthdays, holidays, clip art, color, different fonts and quotes, let's go ahead and look at different ways that we can add that. So I'm starting out here in my January page. And if you want to start on a different month, you can. So the first thing that we notice is that this table is all Times New Roman. So if I can go in and change my font to a different style, and this is going to be completely up to you. So it should be something that's easy to see and easy to read, but make sure that you choose your style and then apply it. So check, I already applied one of my new fonts. Now, while we're here, it's also a good idea to go ahead and match that font with the title for the month. So if I like this style and I type in January, then I'm going to go find that same font and then use that same font for the month name too, except that I clicked all sorts of places around there. So we'll go find that same one, and then click it, and then we've got our title. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the color or anything else. That we can come back and adjust later. You can put your month name at the bottom, you can add it at the top, but just play around. And again, if you don't like the style, you can come back and you can adjust it. You can also do where it's different shapes if you'd like to. You can change the fill color, and if you like the gradient styles where you have more than one, then you can do that even inside of your letters. Just play around till you get it to look the way that you want it to look. So we've already taken care of one of our requirements, which is font. Now, let's think on our next one. So font, we skipped, but here we've got fonts taken care of. So let's go back up to birthdays. I do actually have one to add into my calendar here, which is my mom's birthday. So I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to put Nana birthday. Now, if you notice as I typed, I don't see the word birthday, but part of that is because this font, even though it doesn't look big, it's actually an 18-point font. So I'm going to do Control A once I've clicked in that box, and I'm going to decrease that size just to make sure that I can have that show up. Now, I like to center just to make it stand out. And then if I could, I'd like to increase that back, but if you see, even just that little bit messes up the other. Now I could take this and make this one size smaller, and then probably adjust this one back up to match the rest of them, but I'll leave that up to you. Just make it to where it's not too noticeable. But you will have to adjust your font sizes once you click in to actually add anything into the boxes. We also have a couple of holidays here. So we've got New Year's Day. Same thing goes, Control A, decrease my font size until it fits. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit enter one more time. So then this puts it on a new line, and then again center just to make it look a little better. And And then let's see if we can increase that back up to 18, the way that it is for everything else. I want to make sure that this all matches, so if I like the italics, I can leave it. If not, I can take it off. I also like to bold the different pieces of information as I put them into my table because it makes it stand out from the rest. So I've got a holiday, I've got a birthday. We should also have Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, or at least that's when it's observed. Now, this would not count as one of your birthdays unless you were personal friends with Dr. King. Otherwise, you need to go ahead and find different birthdays. This would count as a holiday. So then I've got my holiday taken care of. I'm going to make sure my fonts are matching back up. And there we go. So now I've got holidays, check. Birthdays, check. Font, check. So I need clip art, I need color, and I need a quote. So for clip art, a couple of different choices for you. One of the easiest things to do is look for the different birthdays and holidays, and you can insert clip art for those options. So if I did insert, I look at online pictures and look up a picture of balloons. I'm going to add a picture of a balloon beside where it says Nana's birthday. 20 minutes later, when this opens, we're going to go ahead and search for it, find the picture we like, and then move it down so where it's right beside Nana's birthday. You could do the same thing for New Year's Day. You could find a little party hat or a little noisemaker and put that on there. So that's an easy way to add in your clip art. Now, we're not going to wait for this to load, so I'm just going to close out for now, but you get the idea. So we could put a picture of a little balloon. If we look at one of the previous months, let's see, no, there we go. So we've got one for Nana's birthday. There's a balloon. There goes the bell. So besides that, once we've got the clip art, you can see in this one, in this finished month, I have my color is actually up top, not necessarily in the bottom, but I switch it. So some months I put color in the bottom, some I put them in the top, and some I put them in both. I do want to make sure that you leave some white space in your document somewhere. So you can see that this is not completely colored. You need to leave white space somewhere. Even here, I've got some white space, even though it's Carolina blue everywhere, I've got some white space off to the side. So you can add color accents different ways. This one, I changed the fill color of this whole section and then just added the UNC logo. Up top, same thing. This is actually what their jerseys or their shirts look like. So we took the style from that to copy it up here. You can do the same thing. You can find pictures and use those pictures as backgrounds, or in the case of this one, you can even draw your own. So this one was just a regular rectangle with a gradient color that I put in behind to make the rest of the pictures pop. So you've got lots of different selections and different ways to add color. One of the ways I want to show you is how to add the gradient color to the bottom. So if I highlight the sections that I'd like to change, I could include Sunday or not. And you can go in and actually go through our design. There's our fill. And then you can just pick a straight color if that's what you'd like to do. What you can also do is go to Fill Effects, and then we can change this if you want gradient. Gradient is actually one that blends really well. Now you can see it's going from white to a gray. So if I click on this one and then I change the color, then maybe I want to do a blue, January, ice, yeah, maybe. And then I'm going to delete these others because I don't need those. And then just making sure that this one is a white and not a gray. Then I hit OK, and then I've got a fill. Now, I'm not a fan of the repeating colors here. So you can see that we did an up and down pattern, and it repeats. Now, if we change that, and instead of doing it that way, we were to use so instead of this type of effect, if we want to change the direction, if we use one where it starts with one color to the side and then blends into the second color, this looks a little better, and it looks like it goes together. But when we had it the other way, it just looks very disjointed. So if you want to use a horizontal gradient coloring, I wouldn't do it this way. And instead, what I would do is I would do Insert, and I would add a shape. Now, this is going to seem strange. I'm going to draw a rectangle right on top of my Sunday column. I'm going to change it so that it doesn't have an outline color, no line around the outside. And then this is where I would do my gradient. So if this is the horizontal one where I want to start with a color at the top and then eventually bleed into the bottom, that's obviously not the colors that I wanted. But if we use our fill effects, change that to the blue, leading into white, and then I hit OK. It's going to give me a better effect where it's not that repeating pattern. Now the only tricky part here is you want to make sure that it's the same size as your column. So I'm going to click, I'm going to drag just to make sure that if I click away, I don't see any of the other parts. Now, we're going to do send backward, and it's there, we can see it. The problem is there's a fill color in this. Right now, this has a white fill. So if I want the other to show through, I've got to go down to no fill. And then my background will show through. So that's one easy way to add color. But again, you can go online and you can find pictures, but just make sure you leave some type of white space. Now, what I would do is if I picked one pattern that I liked here, I would actually just copy and then paste another, and then I'm going to flip it. And if we're talking about, and of course, because I flipped it, it got angry, let me go back into Format Auto Shape. I want to flip the colors, though, where we see the blue on the bottom and then bleeding into the white on the top. So if I can change that and then drag it over and then place it right back on top, what we can do is get a better effect. And when we do this for just the, and I know I've messed that up a bit, but if we do this for just the months, thank you, Belle. If we do this for just the weekends, then it makes that, oh, dang it, it still messed it up. But it makes it where that stands out from the rest of the week, because the weekdays are really honestly considered separate from the weekends. So it gives you a nice visual there. And then maybe I want to add a color accent at the top. I could do my own or find one online that I like. So I like this one. We copy it. We come on in. We paste in our picture. Now, since mine was portrait, but my page is landscape, I'm going to flip it. But you might have to do some cropping. So if you find a picture you really like, then you may have to do some cropping to make sure that it fits. So here, I would expand it and then just make sure that it's not bleeding off the side and crop it back down. By the time I do send to back, then I'm ready to add my pictures in. Clip art, that's the only part that's missing. I was hoping we might have a better look this time. It looks like we do. I could do all sorts of things. I can do a snow. I did not like that balloon. I could do a snowflake on one of the items. Any way that you can get clip art would be fine. Now, I would actually count this as a clip art as well, because it is a picture that we have here. But if I count it as clip art, then I can't count it as a color accent. So it's only going to count as one or the other. One of the last things that we'll do, so looking back at those requirements, we have birthdays, we have holidays, almost had clip art, so I messed it up. We had our color accents, we've got our different fonts. So the last thing is going to be a quote. Now, the quote can be whatever you'd like it to be. But if you notice, if I scroll down here, I've got some extra space in these boxes. So if I highlight those and then I go up to our layout, there's an option called merge, where I can take more than one cell in a table and then just combine them together. So if I merge those, this would be a great place to put your quote. You can see that we can fit everything in. Great place to put your quote. Now, I don't know if you noticed in any of the examples, I'm going to go ahead and call myself out on something. This is the one requirement I do not add into my calendars. So when I make my calendars, that was 2016, here's 2016, when my family went to Disney World, I don't put quotes. Now I put clip art, I put color accents, I put everything else. I don't do quotes. I'm playing the teacher card on this one, but otherwise you can merge those cells just like we did here, and that's a great place to add it. So you're going to go through and add in your color, add in your clip art, your quotes, your different font styles, birthdays, and holidays. Make sure you've got all 6 requirements and then move on. So then we've got February. We're going to start over again. Now, once you've got your 6 requirements and all the others, you're ready to start adding pictures. The other thing I want to tell you here too is just be careful. Don't invest too much time looking for your images yet, because when you find the pictures that you want to use in your calendar, they may not blend. So for instance, I like in my calendars, especially for July, I like to use red, white, and blue. But when I used this and it was just a flat blue here, I didn't feel like it blended very well. And you can see a lot of my pictures have dark colors. So I wanted to find something that kind of pulled the different colors together. So you're going to have to play, and you may put in a color block here just to save your place. And then when you come back and add your pictures, you may decide, you know what, that's not the one, delete, let me go find another. We'll talk about adding pictures another day, but this is your job for the next few classes. So for days 2, so that's Monday, November 6th, Tuesday, November 7th, Wednesday, November 8th, and actually that's it. 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, and 6 is the 8th. So 6, no, I'm sorry. So for you guys, you're going to start November 2nd, 3rd, and then 6, 7, and then on day 6, that will be the 8th. So basically, we're looking at 4 classes. Now, it shouldn't take 4 classes. You could probably finish all 6 requirements in all of these in about 2. But if you invest your time, you're going to end up with a calendar that looks a lot more professional, and it's going to be a lot more color. You can see I've done these calendars through the years. This was a student of mine when I was pregnant who took pictures or drew pictures. My oldest son when he was tiny, but you can see it kind of the pictures through the years, how everything has changed, how different colors and add features are added. And the more time you spend, the better this is going to look. So remember for these days to go through those requirements.